everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We had some crazy games go down yesterday that we're going to be talking about today. But before
excuses is all I
that
heard.
Were not made. That were not made. But okay.
But we'll see Thursday. You know, they have another game. Hopefully they can get their playoff mojo back so they can stop making excuses about why they don't have the energy to finish out. But yeah,
she got one good year, and now she's feeling herself, and she's putting out this fake news. We're gonna play the video on what we're not gonna do, but what we're not gonna do is pretend that LeBron said anything like that, because that was not said. We're gonna play the video on what we're not gonna do. But anyone else got anything else to say that's actually factual on this segment right now?
Maybe Chris has some facts to say.
Okay, well, actually, Chris, I'm going to ask you, what do you think is going on here? Do you feel like maybe the playoff pressure is too much, or why was yesterday so crazy with these top-seeded teams?
Well, the Bucks. The thing is, both teams were not coming into the playoffs playing well. The Lakers and the Bucks were awful in the seeding games, and I got killed because I said that. And it's just seeding games; it doesn't matter. I'm like, all right, then go into the bubble acting that way, and we saw what happened. Like LeBron James had a damn good game, and people were still killing him, talking about maybe if he had less assists and more points, they would be doing it. I'm like, no, LeBron did what he had to do. AD didn't look great, and the rest of the team looked terrible. I don't know. I was saying this going into it that I think that they will shake it off. I think, it's still going to be a 7-game series, at least for the Lakers, Blazers. I think the Lakers will be fine, but they were not taking it serious going into this playoffs, those seeding games, throwing all kind of crazy rotations and sitting their players way too early. They weren't taking it serious. They're doing the same thing. I figure it out, but I love this. Both teams going to be take slice of humble pie, and now we got to keep it moving to see if they can turn it around.
Yeah. Well, I hope they can turn it around, because yesterday was painful watching that as a Lakers fan. But Jackie, okay, so I know we're going to be talking about this a little bit more and what we're not going to do, but I just want to hear from you. Like, what do you feel is wrong with the Lakers right now? Are you losing hope?
I mean, no, I never lose hope in King James, because, I think anything is possible as long as he's on the team. But I will say I had to
But Jackie,
both games
King James did everything he was supposed to do.
She didn't ask. I thought you was going to come in on some Brit haterade, and I was like cutting it off. I was like, she didn't ask you. But no, you're right. He did do everything he was supposed to do. Dwight was playing great for a while, but then he got to this point where he felt like he couldn't do anything, and he started backing up a little bit. So that was a concern. We're going to have to talk about everything with KCP. Kuz was like 5 for 14 or something like that. Everybody shot too much. I think LeBron was like 8 for 20. Everybody shot too much and didn't make them enough. And then again, you live and die by the three. In this case, we died by it. Half of y'all is 7 feet tall. If you don't take your big behind underneath the basket and shoot the damn shot and get the two, and you shoot, like, there's a lot of things wrong with the night. I thought the Bucks, I was really surprised by the Bucks game, because Orlando didn't look good at all to me. Like, not even a little bit did they look good to me, and then the Bucks still lost. So that one was really weird. The game with the Lakers and the Trailblazers was just great. Like, before the show, I was telling Chris that it was one of those emotionally exhausting games, because I'm from Denver, so I have a love for Carmelo Anthony, obviously because of the Nuggets, and everybody knows I love Dame. And so it was one of those things that when Melo got that three, I was like, damn it, can't do that right now. Like, you know what I mean? It was just one of those things. It was just emotionally draining. I ultimately do think the Lakers will bounce back, but if they go down 2, then you're gonna have to ask me that question again on Friday, because then that's gonna be a different conversation.
Alrighty. Well, I can't wait to hear what you have to say and what we're not going to do about all of this. So until then, just stay tuned. We're going to be getting into a lot of stuff, you guys. But let's talk about the next need-to-know news story, still kind of along the same lines as our first story. So in yesterday's Blazers versus Lakers game, we saw Dame, who was yet again on another level. He's just been on fire in the bubble, as we've been talking about on our show. Yesterday, he put up 34 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. And like I've mentioned, it was devastating to watch, but we have to acknowledge how insanely well he's playing. I have a clip that I want to show you guys right now. So Leo, if you could throw that up there right now. You guys probably all remember this moment.
You know why? They don't have many three-point shooters. Like that! Like that! Damian Lillard!
So that was a big moment, and it's easy to see something like that and think like, oh my god, he's so cool, but apparently it's causing some people to forget about Steph Curry. So TNT analyst Kenny Smith said that he didn't think Steph could do what Dame is doing right now in terms of shooting the ball from so deep, and Steph clapped back, didn't hesitate in responding back, and he tweeted, love you at the Jet on TNT, but you tripping right now. And then Kenny responded back writing, Kenny responded back writing, man, it's been a long time. I forgot. Steph's range obviously is clearly unreal, so we really shouldn't forget that. I know they haven't had a great season, and we haven't been able to see Steph play in a long time, but I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, at least in my opinion. So Chris, where do you think the Steph Curry disrespect is coming from?
I just think the fact that he just hasn't been playing. How many games have we seen Steph Curry in 2020 in general? So like, I don't think it was really disrespectful. I think Kenny just literally forgot about Steph Curry because we haven't seen Steph Curry. Not to mention, they not in the playoffs. He only played 2-3 games in this regular season. Like we forgot, or at least Kenny forgot about a certain Steph Curry. And I'm one of those guys that I think Damian Lillard definitely top 5, but I would say I'm not saying Steph Curry is top 5. We could fight about that in the chat, but I could definitely. I think that if the Warriors were in this bubble, Steph Curry would be doing some reckless stuff without this crowd stuff too. So I think it is a little bit disrespectful, but at the same time, I think he just blatantly forgot because we haven't seen much Steph Curry. So I didn't think anything of it. He backed down, so obviously he did forget.
Can we circle back? Did you say you would not put Steph in the top 5?
No, I want to ask about that too.
I have to circle back. I'm so sorry. I don't want to fight in the chat. I want to fight.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't put him in the top 5?
Top 10. Not top 5.
Okay, who's your top 5, Chris?
That's not the question. We'll talk about that for another day, but he's not my top 5. Nope, he's not.
Well, since I'm in charge of the questions for this segment, Chris, who's your top 5?
Oh my God, no, nope. I'm not playing this game because we're gonna be talking for the rest.
I love it, Devin. High five. I love it.
No.
Britt, I want to know about this. What did you think about what Kenny said? What's your opinion on it?
I don't really have an opinion on it. Dame's my favorite player, so I've always thought Dame was great, so I don't really have an opinion. Steph's great. Steph's not playing, and Steph's not in the bubble, so let Dame have his moment and be quiet.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right, Jackie, and then to wrap this up, we're wrapping up Need to Know News a little bit early today. Do you really think it's that easy to forget Steph's skill from the three-point line and beyond just because we haven't seen him play for 5 months or 6 months, however long it's been?
I mean, it shouldn't be when it's your job to remember certain things, maybe for the novice fan, maybe, but when it's your job, no. I think it was cute because it actually brought Steph back into the conversation, which is never a bad thing, that your name is back in the system. I thought it was cute, a little back and forth, but we've literally seen anybody who's a LeBron James fan knows that, he was tripping. Steph had it right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up Need to Know News. So
Chris,
wait.
One second. Chris think he's slick. He in the chat. He told
there.
everybody that he got Steph at number 6.
Asking. Yeah, he said 6.
He got Steph at 6.
LeBron in no order. I got LeBron James, Giannis, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi Leonard. No order, but that's my top 5 right now.
Oh, you're doing all time. Okay. I got you.
No, I'm talking about right now in the league right now. I'm talking about in the league right now.
League right now?
5. Yeah.
And then
LeBron James,
no specific order.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, James Harden. No, I'm not playing that game. I'm not putting them in no order. I don't do that.
No.
That's
do it again. Top 5, Giannis,
LeBron
Kawhi,
James, Giannis Antetokounmpo. LeBron James, Kawhi, Giannis, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. That's it. That's my top 5. And I got 6. I'm not
entirely mad at that.
Why is no one talking? What's going on?
We could debate. I'm not entirely mad at that list. I'm not entirely mad at that list.
And on that note, I'm gonna reel it in. Say what?
Devin's not gonna let you do it.
What?
Since we still have time to fill and need to know news, Jackie, what do you want to say back to that? If
ahead.
you're not,
I just said,
how do you feel about
I'm not
it?
entirely mad at that. I'm not entirely mad at that list. That's a damn good list, and I like the fact that he didn't put any orders on it. You know what I mean? Because that's where people.
I don't play that game. Y'all know me. I don't play that game. I'm not playing that game.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Well played, sir. Well played.
All right, Chris.
Okay, can I? All right, so I can reel it back to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a fuzzy version of the post up with your boy Chris. Quarantine edition. Yes, guys. And there's no hate. I love Steph Curry. I'm a Steph Curry fan, but he's just not in my top 5. I just told you my top 5. Talk to me. It's all right. We'll talk after the show. It's no big deal. Anyways, moving into post up, you don't think we were just going to slightly just talk about Damian Lillard and move on? No. Damian Lillard got some he got some space in the post up for today. Matter of fact, he got 2 spots, but we're gonna start off with I heard somebody's head hit the keyboard just now. I don't know who it was, but somebody upset over there. But yes, Damian Lillard, we saw one of the amazing logo threes, as I'm calling them, from that game last night. But the one that happened before that one was easily my favorite one because a lot more came with it. So here was that first 3 from the logo that Dame dropped out. Look at that thing. Whop. But it's about after the fact. I'm so glad the cameras caught it after the fact because, look, the camera was about to roll off, but blow the whistle started playing. And we know Dame, an Oakland boy, and that thing went right back, and he was going. I'm sorry, Damian Lillard. I'm there. I'm 100% in. I've been 98% in the entire time. Britt's been there the entire way of his career, so Britt gets all that credit. I've been 98% in. I'm like, all right, Dame is real, but I mean, the Blazers just can't get figured out. Well, no, I'm 100% in now, Dame. You got me. After seeing him dance on Caruso like that, I'm all for it. So that man was 2 for 2 from logo range. Can't say that about nobody else in the bubble right now. 2 for 2 from logo range just in yesterday's game. But yeah, that was crazy. But we're not done with Damian Lillard. We talked about the beef between Damian Lillard and Skip Bayless, but it turns out we got somebody else that's trying to get in on this this beef. I mean, we know that a certain somebody has always had felt a type of way with Skip Bayless, and that certain somebody is Charles Barkley. But yesterday he took the advantage he took the time to make sure that Skip Bayless heard what he had to say while they were recapping the game between the Lakers and the Blazers. Here's Chuck.
I love the way, hey, take that, Skip Bayless.
Stop it. Game tied at 89. Here comes LeBron, swatted by Whiteside.
I hope y'all heard me, America. Skip Bayless, take that with your punk ass.
This was the 36-footer. The other one was just 30 feet.
No, I can't stand him.
Leave that man alone.
No, I don't like him. He's nowhere around the building.
92-89.
Give me that, Carmelo.
I just saw Ernie trying. Bless Ernie, man. Ernie was trying so hard to move on. He was like, all right, we get it. You're mad. All right, so there's Dame with the big 3. Now, I hope y'all heard me, America. All right, Damian Lillard with the Nah, Ernie, we're going to let that one. We have to talk about that one. But yeah, I mean, it's no secret. People have known that, the two have gone back and forth. This is not new news, but, Charles Barkley, now that somebody else that is, I just no disrespect, but somebody that is relevant to right now, and Damian Lillard is having a beef with the guy he had beef with, he's gonna come out and be like, yeah, that's right, let's get it. We back on this one. So I ain't mad at Chuck for it, but it was just funny. But anyways, moving on off of that, Chuck beef will never end. Maybe you should try to get him on the show, Skip Bayless. Maybe we should send out a billion tweets trying to get Chuck on the show. See if that works out. It won't. All right, moving on to the next one. We're now time for the Laker 8. Now, I'm surprised. Jackie had mentioned a player earlier on in the show, but didn't mention the player I thought she was going to mention. I'm glad she mentioned Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I'm not going to call you. Don't get no nicknames with the way you've been playing lately. I've been a KCP fan since Detroit, but then once he went to the Lakers, I don't know who this guy is. That's why I can't call him KCP. This guy is Kentavious. I don't know who this dude is because and it showed. And it showed yesterday.
I'm surprised you didn't have in your post up when Charles called them CP3. Did you not see that? When he was like CP, and then he almost went to KFC. He was like CP3 KF. You know who I'm talking about. I was like, no, we don't.
Even though Chuck slipped up, I'm telling you, he don't deserve that KCP nickname no more. Because this guy is not KCP. I miss KCP. KCP was a two-way player. This dude used to be money from three. He would lock down your other team's best player. This was the KCP I remember in Detroit. Then he came to Lakers, and that Hollywood, that sunshine really got to him because he hasn't been the same level guy. He showed some signs in his time as a Laker, but it hasn't been great. But regardless, now he is on a playoff Laker team, and you would think and hope that KCP would, start to show his head a little bit like, all right, we playing for a championship now. This is real. No, he hasn't been at that level, so he deserves what he got from Jackie Ray. But we're not talking about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. We're talking about Danny Green. Now, this man is a championship winner. This man is a two-time championship winner, and Laker fans are going in on Danny Green. Now, mind you, Danny Green, yes, he did not play great yesterday, but it was not at the level of how he was looking in the bubble leading up to it. It wasn't great. A lot of missed shots. I'm not trying to, say that, he doesn't deserve it. But, man, Laker fans are going in. And none other than the big dog himself, Snoop Dogg, who we all know is a huge Laker fan. He went in on a post that he eventually deleted where he posted this picture of the back of Danny Green's jersey saying how many more. And then he added, effing threes am I going to miss? And then on top of that, added the caption, WTF, man, with a bunch of shrugging emojis. Again, he did take the post down, but Big Snoop Dogg has put Danny Green on notice, which if you're a Laker fan, you should be happy about this because we talk about it all the times on the show. Whenever you bring out any kind of hate, you talk bad about somebody, the players hear it, and more times than not, they will respond from it. More times than not, it is like all-star level players, but still players, hold grudges, and hopefully Danny Green will, hold a bit of a grudge knowing that Snoop Dogg, one of the biggest Laker fans, is saying something about him, and maybe he'll turn around on Thursday. So Laker fans should be a little bit happy about that. But that is a question for Thursday night or Friday after the game, because right now, Laker fans are not happy with Danny Green at all. Now, in his comment section over on his own page, he has been getting killed. I mean, slaughtered. Like these insults he was getting were insane. Lil, if we can get that first comment section up, the first one, just take the time and look at this. My man Flyboy Reyes called him butt juice. He said, "Bro, you butt juice." Like it is that bad. Like my man being called but not. He went beyond calling him the doo-doo. He is calling him the butt juice. Like. It's bad. And then Turn Up Brent is so upset. He went in all caps. Now, sometimes I go in all caps all the time, but it's never on purpose because I leave my cap lock on all the time. But this man went in there with a mission saying, you guys, it's the game. How the hell are you supposed to be a three-point specialist and you go 2 for 8, 25%? Thank you for the math. That is, I'm going to leave that one alone. WTF. Turn Up Brand, but yes, he make a shot, normal stuff, all the other stuff, but a little bit of snaps. How many more open threes? Blah 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 blah. But can we get the next one, Leo? There's another one that's not done, and these aren't even all of them. There's way more, and none other better than butt juice. But the people were telling him that he got to go to lethal shooter, and then my favorite one came from Ryan Giggs at the top. He said, "Imagine your instant name being Green Ranger, but can't make a shot." Green Ranger, for those who play 2K, obviously you get a green and you make the shot, so that's where Green Ranger came from, and then last name and blah blah blah.
This I hope he turns this off. He needs to turn these comments off.
He needs to see them. He needs to see them. Laker fan, you need to want him to see these. Danny Green needs to see this. Man is a championship. You can say what do you want. He has a ring. Okay, he got the pedigree. He needs to see these and be like, yeah. You know what? You're right, and wake up. So Laker fans should be happy about this. No, he should not turn them off. Take the L's and turn it around.
This is what the girlfriend is supposed to do. This is what I would always say would be my job. Now he'd be safe because he's in the bubble, and I couldn't be there if I was his girlfriend. But could you imagine me being a Laker fan and you coming home after this display? Oh no, we're gonna have a talk.
Wait, so you're saying you let him come home?
Yeah, he gonna come home to the couch. And like 2 or 3 Rottweilers growling at him and not letting him upstairs. That's how that gonna go. And all of them gonna have like the number 3 on them.
Jackie's gonna be the one
so you know why you can't come upstairs. I can't.
Jackie's gonna be the one that she would have made a whole dinner for herself and then would have had like a frozen dinner ready for him to warm it. She wouldn't even warm it up for him. She would be there waiting for him to warm up from his damn self.
And it would have 3. It would have 3 green beans on it, 3 French fries, 3 carrots, 3 slices of meat until you get the damn hint.
Jackie,
Petty.
how do we get you to the bubble? How do we get you to the bubble? We need you there right now. Please.
Oh my
Petty.
goodness.
I'd be so petty with it.
Oh my gosh. Nah, look, Danny Green, I am sticking to my guns. I believe Danny Green will turn it around. Like I said, the man's got rings and he is good at what he does. And that's the thing. And I understand. So I see a lot of impatient, stupid fans talk about nonsense all the time. And I get Laker fans are similar, except they win. But here's the thing, like Danny Green was still doing a good job on defense, which is, partially one of the major parts of this game. Obviously, he's a 3-point specialist. We get that. But Danny Green was still doing what he had to do, which is why I'm glad Jackie mentioned Contavious more so than Danny Green, because I feel like nobody talking about Contavious. Maybe Lakers fans just tired of talking about Contavious. But anyways, I'm done with that. I'm going to move on from Danny Green. But we do have, I don't want to say closure. I don't know if I can call this closure. But we do have, okay, we have a question that we've all had for quite some time. We haven't officially answered. Obviously, we've heard quotes, we've heard rumors, we've heard all this stuff, but this one is coming straight from Chris Paul's mouth. Now, everybody, when when James Harden and Chris Paul first were united in Houston, we knew that they were good friends. Everybody was excited about the pairing, blah, 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 blah. But as time went on, that relationship seemed to be deteriorating a little bit. And people were, casting their rumors saying that the two hate each other. They blah, 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 blah. James Harden forced Chris Paul out. Chris Paul forced his way out. All these kind of rumors were coming out. Well, now after the fact, the trade happened this past off season. Chris Paul has been a major key to the Thunder making to the playoffs right now, where they are playing said Houston Rockets. Storylines. But now Chris Haynes asked Chris Paul, a lot of Chris's. Chris talking about Chris Haynes, talking to Chris Paul. All right. But Chris Haynes had asked Chris Paul about the relationship between him and James Harden. And Chris Paul kept it real. He said this.
About it earlier in this season. At that time, you were asked, I believe around December, if you and James Harden had a relationship to this point. Where does it stand at right now?
He ain't gonna hit me and tell me to tell my daughter happy birthday today. You know what I mean? Like, we don't talk, communicate, nothing like that, but that's all good and well. I wish him the best, any and everything he does.
And then he went on to, pretty much talk about we no ill will, we just not friends. That's pretty much what he said. I just don't care about anything that's going on with him. I don't hate him, but it's just not my guy. That's all it is. Which makes sense. I feel like people try to put too much into what's going on when it comes to basketball and players and stuff like that, but we don't really know what's going on in the players' real life. I don't think that they hate each other. I just think that they just were not a combination that worked, and they probably just weren't the best of friends coming out of the situation. It's as simple as that. But you heard it out of the horse's mouth himself, ladies and gentlemen. So there it is. Chris Paul speaking on James Harden. Now, it's crazy. We're getting closer to the end of Post Up, and I feel like I've talked about this one person for damn near 5, maybe 6 Post Ups in a row, and it'd be off if I didn't talk about him again. That's right, guys. Taco Fall's back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Taco Fall again. And this time, he hit up his boy, Enes Kanter, for the plug. Now, if you guys don't remember, last week I showed you guys Enes Kanter's new mask that said vote on it. It was dope. It's next level. Well, Taco must have been watching Post Up or just hanging out with his boy, Enes, and be like, yo, can I get a mask like that? And it looks like Enes Kanter gave him the plug, because Taco got a mask of his own, and it is with Mario walking in the streets, and he is loving it. The video just basically him saying, this is so cool. This is the dopest thing I've ever seen. This is cool. That's all he said. But it's a cool looking mask.
Is
that's
that
all I got
Mario?
for
You said that's Mario?
It's a Mario model, but he's all green, so I don't know if that was supposed to be some kind of Celtics call out, but it's definitely Mario. I know Mario when I see it. It's definitely Mario. So I don't know if he was made all green because of colors and neon or whatnot, or because of Celtics. I don't know, but that's Mario just walking on sunshine. Whoa, I don't know. I got nothing else for that. But yeah, Taco, happy about it. Taco got a new mask, and we just updated on everything that's Taco. By the end of this, we can make a whole probably hour compilation of everything that Taco has done in the bubble. So Taco, once again, new mask alert, and it's pretty funny, and we're all for it. All right, this next one was pretty funny. I was trying to find out what it was, and if you guys know, after I tell you the story, if you guys know what it was, please let me know in the chat, or let me know here on the panel. But this TikToker, or he was just a regular student, he had his first lecture via Zoom call, of course, yesterday, and he ran into a very unlikely person, at least in his eyes, a very unlikely person. It is a player that plays in the NBA that is not in the bubble right now, or never really had a chance. Or I mean, they were in the bubble, but no thanks to him because he wasn't playing this season. But it was none other than John Wall. John Wall was in the first day of school with this TikToker named Dylan, and it caught him off guard. I was trying to find out what the class was, though. I don't know if he was just, just John Wall just out here just getting his sorry, I was looking at the writing. I was trying to find out by the writing what class it was. But yeah, if anybody knows, and first of all, can you talk about my man Dylan's poster in the back talking about virginity rocks? Hilarious. Go ahead, Dylan.
Oh, God.
Whatever floats your boat, my guy. But I just caught that at the side of my eye. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking in the comments. Looks like nobody else knows where it's from. I don't know. But I mean, John Wall out here getting his education in. We're seeing that he's getting ready to get back on the court. He's looking good, looking like he's ready to play. But he's still got some time to kill, and he's doing that, taking classes, which I'm all for. So do you think, John Wall? I just want to know what it was, what class you're taking. I just want to know. But last but not least, oh gosh, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. But some videos were dropped and released yesterday amid all of the crazy and excitement that was the Lakers and Blazers game. And it was the video of the altercation that happened last year between MASAI Ujiri and Deputy Strickland in Oakland after the Raptors had won their championship against the Golden State Warriors. Now, at the time, we didn't see what happened. I mean, videos were starting to come out and whatnot, but at the time, it was being painted a little bit, at least in my opinion. Please correct me if you don't agree, but in my opinion, it was being painted a little bit like MASAI was the aggressor in some of the stuff, and he had come out in a lot of the interviews after the fact talking about it, saying that, he was coming on me, pushing me to get to the point where I was frustrated and so on and so forth. But it just felt like, Twitter and media taking the way they want to take it. It seemed like a lot of people were pushing MASAI to be the aggressor in that situation. I don't know if you guys remember, there was I wouldn't say famous, but it was viral at the time clip of Kyle Lowry who was hugging MASAI Ujiri, who was basically trying to get him away from that situation because MASAI was riled up. He was pissed off about the situation, but Kyle was like, "You're over here with me now. You can hear it. You're over here with me now. Don't worry about that." That was a video from them. But anyways, now footage of what actually happened has dropped. We have the body cam from Deputy Strickland as well as a security cam from the Oracle Arena. And this is the first one. This is the security cam. If you can follow along, you see that MASAI, of course, he's standing his ground, but the deputy is 100% the aggressor in this situation. Yeah. And he's being pulled off by other people. Like it's insane. And as you see, MASAI, of course, now he's yelling as any man would in a situation where he's being shoved for doing absolutely nothing. He's going back and forth and yelling. This is the part that we saw, but it got worse when you saw the body cam. You can hear what Deputy Strickland had to say, but in the altercation between the two. So, Leo, if we could play the next one, please.
Oh, yeah. Hell no.
You simply heard MASAI show him, said, "I'm going. I have my credentials." And then for whatever reason, Deputy Strickland just went bonkers on MASAI Ujiri, and it turned into what it turned into. And I don't know. I feel different kinds of ways with this. Like, I'm glad it came out, but my thing was just like, I wonder if it's legal. I don't know. I just want to know why it took so long for this to come out. A, B, I want to hear all those other, media outlets and the people that had their opinions on this when that were going against MASAI Ujiri. I want to hear them talk now. I have so many feels on this, but all in all, MASAI, who for whatever reason felt like he needed to defend himself, which is crazy to me when he told the story the way it was. But again, he wasn't believed in that situation. And now we're seeing this, and I'm not painting a picture for you guys. You saw it right there. MASAI would handle this situation how you should handle a situation like that when you know that people are going to come and point the finger. Whatever. But I do want to come to you first, Jackie. Seeing this, knowing that this footage had come out and knowing the story before any of this footage was released yesterday or this past week, what were your thoughts with this, especially knowing what we thought we knew going into this?
So so when this whole thing came out originally, my first thing was, how does it continually, we hear the vast majority of non-Black people, whenever it's us, on the other end of violence, the first thing they say is, we need to see the whole video. We need to know the backstory.
Right.
We need to know what happened. But in this specific instance, it was like, oh no, he was wrong. So I was just unnerved I was like, well, keep that same energy. You know what I mean? If you need to always see the backstory, you should always want to see the backstory. And then that didn't happen. So now I want to know if these media outlets are going to issue a public apology, like we were wrong. We made a snap judgment based on what? Because you didn't see. Yeah, I doubt it too. But the thing is like, this is always going to be an uphill battle for us. And I just can't imagine how he feels knowing he was telling the truth this whole time, and now we are just now finding out. And
defending himself. It was insane.
Yeah. And the thing is like, it shouldn't have come to that. You know what I mean? The man had his credentials. Look at his credentials and let him on. It's just ridiculous. And so I just feel, it's unfortunate. The officer was clearly wrong. And now it's a matter of, does he still have a job? If it took this long for this footage to come out, is because nobody wanted it to come out. That's the only reason it didn't come out. It wasn't a matter of, did his superiors get to see it? They saw it. They damn well saw it, and they just didn't want us to know about it because, they didn't want to paint that picture that, the officer was wrong. But that's the problem. If you don't start painting pictures of when people are wrong, then you're always just protecting the badge or whatever. Then it becomes this thing, and this shouldn't have been that. This is a stadium cop. You know what I mean? Like, come on, my guy. This is not the time to be this extra. And so. It's
aggressive. It was insane, man.
Yeah. And if he's that aggressive in a stadium, then I don't even want to know
exactly.
If he's outside of the stadium, what he's doing. So yeah, it's just an unfortunate situation, and I mean, I don't really have like a strong feeling about it because the feeling I have about it is the feeling I have all the time about it. It happens all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then on that, Britt, I want to ask you then, with this coming out now, and like I said, a year later, more than a year later, like, what do you think happens next? Does anything happen next? Or is it just a case of, well, we saw it, MASAI was right, okay, let's move on? Like, what do you think is going to come from this? What's going to happen next?
Nothing's going to come from it. That's why they waited so long to release it, because nobody's in the heated moment of talking about it. Now we're already so far removed from that, as we're not going to see the Warriors playing a game until freaking December now anyway. So if that guy's working at the time, when it comes December, nobody's even going to remember or realize it or whatever the case is. So nothing's going to happen from it. It was released, and it was released this late for a reason. Like, everybody is very strategic in the way they do things and the way things are released. Even with the Ahmaud Arbery situation, how that video wasn't released till 3 months later, basically, or 2 months later. There's so many things that happen for a reason, because they want people to not be upset in a moment about a situation, and they want people to forget about it, which we do, because like Jackie said, this happens all the time. So there's probably in December going to be something else for us to worry about, where we are going to go back and check on this situation to see, is this guy still working Warriors games, and obviously they're going to have their new state or new arena now and all this kind of stuff. So who knows what's even going to happen. But nobody's going to remember this come December, because we're going to have other stuff to worry about, unfortunately.
And that's the type of BS that they're probably going to try and pull. They'll probably try and pull the whole, all right, well, we won't put Deputy Strickland on any Warriors games, but he can still work for the Oracle kind of crap, because they're still going to have performances and stuff going on at Oracle. So he'll be working for those things, but he just won't be working Warriors games at the new stadium, which, that's kind of BS that might happen for him. But yeah, unfortunately, I do agree with you, bro. I don't, it's just another situation where nothing else is going to come from this. And, when it was released in the middle of playoffs where everything on Twitter was about basketball, and I feel like not many people really saw this until after the fact, or maybe not even then. So yeah, it's probably just gonna get swept under the rug. But
and what this video does, though, it just proves that, like, I remember when Trayvon Martin was killed, it's like, oh well, he had a hoodie on and he looked suspicious, and whatever the case is, he had a suit on at a basketball game. So it doesn't matter what we wear, what we look like, what we're doing at the time. It does not matter. People are racist, and people are going to how they're going to react regardless of what we do. There's nothing that Black people can do in order to make you treat us with more respect, because he was suited and booted with a nice, probably very expensive suit on, walking in the basketball stadium. And obviously the craziness that happens obviously with other situations when people die, it didn't happen in this situation, but the aggression that is brought on to him looking the way he did is crazy, considering they always try to argue, well, you shouldn't have done this to be wearing this, and you shouldn't look like a thug, and all this, that, and the third. And this is a perfect example that does not matter.
That's not matter. Yeah, it's crazy how with us it's always but he, but she, but they, but this, but that, but it's never the facts. You know, it's always always, but there's something else where there. I don't know, but anyways, that's it for me on Post Up. Sorry to end on that note, but it's something that I want you guys to see if you did not get to see that yesterday, because crazy times, crazy stuff.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. And Britt, you hit the nail on the head. He had credentials, a suit on, so it just goes to show that it really doesn't matter. It's sad. It's very sad. But Jackie, hopefully you can lift our spirits maybe a little bit with what we're not going to do. So tell us what we not gonna do. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So look, let me clear my throat for this one, because word on the street is, as you heard at the top of this show, that King James is saying, "Oh, I can't turn on the playoff juice because, you know, the lies," is what you heard. But look, what we not gonna do is believe these blatant lies. That is not what he said. And I'm gonna prove it. Let's go ahead and take a look at what he said. Leo, can you throw that clip up there? Use your listening skills, people. It's important. It's gonna be very important right now.
Continue to say this is different. This is different in an aspect of this. I mean, we're in a bubble with no fans. But as far as me being locked in on the game plan, that doesn't change. Now,
yeah, he said it's different because it's freaking different. I don't know why y'all be going around here making up like, oh, he said I can't. That's not what the man said. Do you need us to play it again? Because if we play it again, it's not a problem. But that's not what the man said. It's different. And if those of you who saying, oh, he's using it as an excuse, you clearly have never played a competitive sport and have never been on stage, because it is different. You feed off of the energy of the crowd. It's a real thing. I am sorry if you don't understand it, but it is a real thing. And it's different now. But he said he's locked in. Because he's locked in. Again, I don't know if you saw how he performed last night. 23 points, 17 rebounds, 16 assists, and a steal, which broke the late, great Kobe Bryant's record of having the third most triple-doubles in Laker franchise history. He did what he was supposed to do. He is dialed in. He is locked in. Stop making up these fake headlines and these narratives, because you know I'm going to have to say something about it. Not to mention all the passes, the flawless passes that he was giving to Kyle Kuzma and Danny Green. Neither one of them are ready for, by the way. And even the announcer was like, well, that's not their fault. They don't realize how good he is at passing. I'm sorry, what? 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 He's been a facilitator his whole career. Step up. Danny Green, we can blame you. Kyle Kuzma, you tried. You did all right, but you need to do better. And you shouldn't be living and dying by the three. This is not a, hey, LeBron, you need to drink the juice. He clearly drank the juice. Maybe y'all need to get some juice or get some of that $20 coffee or something. But don't put this on LeBron, because I'm look. It's just gonna piss me off, and it's not. You don't want to piss off Jackie. Pissed off Jackie is like a pissed off dame, and if I was playing ball, you would see what that means. But anyway, so stop with the fake headlines. And speaking of fake headlines, I know you guys probably woke up, and if you're on Bleacher Report or ESPN or any of the sports sites, you saw this headline that said some variation of Bill Belichick is impressed with Cam Newton. That's not what he said. So since we're going to be clear on things, they're saying he made a great first impression, but that's not exactly at all what Belichick said. He said he's a hardworking kid. That's what he said. I personally take offense to the kid comment, because I've never heard him call Tom Brady a kid. I think he called the new rookie a kid, but that's because he is. But I've never heard him call Brian Hoyer a kid. And I just think you use your words better. Cam is 31 years old. He's an MVP, a Pro Bowler. You don't call him a kid. I thought that was disrespectful. I know that Belichick is 68, so maybe that's a thing for him. But I'm not. If y'all think I'm overreacting, please go ahead and let me know in the chat about that. But the players, on the other hand, they were very detailed in their responses about Cam. They said that they really liked what Cam was doing. They liked the energy he brings. I saw videos of Cam dancing, and he's returning to his self, which I love that. But if you know anything about Belichick, he would probably be beast mode of interviews. He would prefer not to talk to press. We all know that. He barely smiles. He doesn't like to talk to press, and he's very vague in what he says. So I think you continue to be vague if you just say, hey, we're in there, we're working, and then that's it. You don't say anything else, but that's not what Belichick did. Belichick said, and this is a quote here, He said he works very hard, I'd say, as all of our players have. I'd say that certainly for all the quarterbacks at that position, those guys have been locked in, focused, and confident in what they are able to do and the information they have to give to the team. Play calling, adjustments, audibles, protection, adjustments, things like that. Things are going pretty well. That is an all-encompassing quote. That has nothing to do with Cam. So I don't know why people are saying, oh, Belichick is out here impressed with Cam. That's actually not what he said. And as a matter of fact, this morning, again, if you're on Bleacher Report or ESPN, you saw that Belichick says that he is not opposed to using all of the quarterbacks. He said, again, I'm just going to do what's best for my team. I get those of you who are saying, hey, that's Belichick. He just kind of talks in vague things. But here's what we know about Cam. Cam is notorious for getting inside his own head and being his own worst enemy. And he sat unemployed for a while. And I know people say, oh, well, it's the numbers. He was asking for too much. Clearly, the man would have settled for something a little bit higher than the peanuts he got in New England. But that's another story. But if you know this is his weakness, then you don't play to that. You don't say things that kind of make him equal to a rookie and Brian Hoyer. That just is not what you do as a head coach if you really want to build up this person as the quarterback. That doesn't make an ounce of sense. It's mad disrespectful. And quit with the fake headlines, the LeBron fake headline and the Belichick fake headline. But, Chris, now that I'm all worked up, do you think I am reacting to this Belichick headline?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I'm on both sides of the fence. The side that's saying, oh, that's just Belichick being Belichick. But at the same time, I think Belichick is genuinely meaning that he's going to give all of his quarterbacks a fair chance. I don't agree with it, but I think that is definitely what he's going to do. But hopefully we don't see that Cam that beats himself up when those kind of things are being said about him. And we see the fire Cam that we've been seeing leading up to him signing with the Patriots. And hopefully this is motivation that'll help him go out there and do something with it. So I think the ball is back in Cam's court. I really didn't take anything too crazy with what Belichick had to say. I didn't take it, especially with how ESPN and Bleacher Report were trying to sell it. I didn't take it that way. But I also didn't take it completely negative that Cam doesn't have a shot. I think it's more to light a fire under Cam Newton's butt to, go out there and produce the best Cam Newton that Belichick can get.
I mean, I definitely think Cam is ready to produce. And I think if you want to keep that fire that we've been seeing in the videos and stuff, then you don't say something like he's a hardworking kid. And yeah, all of them are good. You know what I mean? Like that,
right.
that's a defeating your purpose if you're trying to build him up. That doesn't make sense.
But that's where that's where I'm in the camp of, but that's just Belichick. That's just how he handles the situation. Like, it might not work for Cam Newton, but that's just how he handles the situation. He's going to have to figure that out. And then when Stidham goes out there and he sucks, you can't put that on Cam Newton. That is because you decided to say what you said, knowing how Cam Newton was going to react. So I don't know. In that camp, I think that is Belichick, but we'll see how Cam Newton responds to that.
Yeah, well, he usually doesn't say too much, and we say it all the time on the show. This would have been a perfect time to say less. But
right.
That's all I got for what we not gonna do. And since you here, Chris, get ready because it is time for Brit's Takes.
Brit's Takes.
All right, guys, so I am actually going to completely do something that has nothing to really do with the news today or what's been trending, but it's has to do with somebody that has been trending and athletes that have been trending and why this could actually be negative for the future of basketball. So my question that I kind of had for myself today that I kind of wanted to unwind a little bit is social media the new standard for upping your draft stock? So obviously we've seen guys like LaMelo Ball. Back in 2016, he kind of became a big hit when he had first hit that crazy half-court shot during a game when he was playing for Chino Hills. And then obviously shortly after, he had that big game where he scored, I don't even remember, what was it,
92.
Chris? 92 points. So he had that big game after the half-court shot. And then that's kind of what kind of changed the game for him. He became a huge sensation. His whole fan after that point. Lonzo wasn't as big as LaMelo. Until LaMelo had done that, Lonzo wasn't as big, LiAngelo, all of them. And then now, if you look, LaMelo Ball has like over 5 million followers on social media, and he is literally in talks to be one of the top 5 draft picks taken in the 2020 NBA draft, which will happen immediately following the NBA Finals in October. technically has more followers than a lot of NBA players. I mean, look at guys like Patrick Beverley or even Blake Griffin. He has more followers than Blake Griffin. He's pretty close to having the same amount of followers as guys like Dame and like all these other guys. So a young guy that hasn't even made it to the league yet, and basically when he was in high school had more followers or just as much followers as some of these huge NBA stars that we know and love and we see on TV every couple days. Zion Williamson obviously is another guy. He actually had over 1 million and was verified on social media before he even entered Duke's campus. And we all know him from like playing high school ball and all this kind of stuff. The problem though is we're seeing these guys on social media, their conversations about with scouts and whatever about these guys before people ever even see them actually play a game. And we have had scouts now come out. Recently read an article, which is what made me talk about this today. And some NBA scouts were coming out and saying that they have noticed a dramatic shift in actually how the players that they see, like all these social media stars, when they go watch a game, it's totally different because they said that these players are basically playing for a highlight now. So you're not seeing two-way players like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George anymore that are, down to play defense and doing all this other kind of stuff. You're literally seeing guys that actually are very lackluster, probably 90% of the game, they were saying, and then they'll have one big highlight, and then obviously that blows up on social media, and then you get this whole thing of, all the one of the scouts was like, he'd see something on social media that would say like, all the NBA scouts came out to see my guy and he literally killed the game, and it's like the one highlight, and then it's a viral video that blows up, but then the scouts looking back and like, well, actually, the game I was at, he did not do a very good job in that game. He had one highlight. He did have a good beginning, first to fourth quarter game. So this is actually, I think, dramatically affecting players. And then two even so, I love Mikey Williams. You guys know I love Mikey Williams. We talk about him quite a bit for such a young guy on this show. And then obviously one of the big things he said was he was thinking about going to a HBCU. He kind of became a big star himself because let's not remember, he started his social media career basically when he was Bronny's AAU teammate. So LeBron started saying little stuff about him, and when Mikey was getting interviewed, he'd questions about, have you told LeBron James this yet, that you're going to be better than him, or like whatever the case is. And so it started this little back and forth, and now Mikey Williams is blowing up or whatever. And yes, he is, but I feel like we're getting to a point where, because some players like Mikey Williams, because he played with Bronny, have opportunities to get these things, they're honestly taking away from what could be really good players because they're not getting these opportunities anymore from scouts, because scouts are kind of just going to viral videos and they're seeing viral videos of like one highlight from a game of one kid doing something in one moment, and then now they're sending a scout to go check out the kid, and it ends up being a waste of time because when they get there, the kid is having a game where it's 90% a bad game, and then they had just one highlight because now kids are playing for their reels. They're literally just wanting a highlight reel where they can have one good play this game, one good play that game, but they're not literally learning how to develop those skills to be an actually good basketball player. So scouts have been coming out now saying that they feel like they've been wasting a lot of time, but then they don't even remember how to go find the players that are actually really good players anymore, because we've just created this world in social media where, okay, if a guy has 1 million followers on social media, he must be a darn good basketball player. And that's not always the case. We've seen several guys that we kind of saw transition, or have these good, there's this, it's like a white boy, and he like literally used to have all these little highlight thingies, and he never really transitioned into being like, who is it?
Mac McClung? That's the only one I could think of.
I think so. He has blonde hair.
Yeah.
I don't know, but and you don't see some of these players transition into being great basketball players, even so much so like with this Zion situation, because I feel like we as fans and commentators and reporters and all of this kind of stuff, we literally have kind of helped create the hype around players that maybe isn't as deserving. Yes, we know Zion is a great player, but I think that takes away from his wanting to do better and wanting to get better, which is why we see him overweight now and, you know, struggling to even finish out games and all of this kind of stuff. He up here already knows that he's like, oh, well, everybody's hyped me up and I think I'm the greatest player, and he's not putting in the work anymore. We can literally see him not putting in the work by just looking at his body. Like, he has not been putting in the work that he needs to, that other guys that maybe were not having a million followers coming out of high school did, you know, but then he's getting this opportunity that all these other guys are not getting to get in this sense. So it's a crazy situation right now. I think we're literally killing basketball day by day just with hyping players up just because of some one little highlight that they see on social media. And high school basketball in AAU is completely changed. I remember I'd be a scorekeeper for AAU basketball, and there would literally be like maybe 10 to 15 people in the stands watching the games. Now these AAU teams are selling out little mini arenas of 17,000 fans, not high school gyms, like actual college gyms, actual like arenas. They're selling them out. They have do you know how many nationally televised high school and AAU games we see nowadays? That did not exist 10 years, 15 years ago. Like, we're in this whole new age, and it's literally just based off of what we're seeing on social media, but these players are not able to live up to these standards, and it's going to negatively affect how scouts are able to get to teams or get to players and see who they really need to see, not just see somebody that has one highlight in a terrible game. Chris, I know you watch a lot of these young ballers play, and you're big in like AAU and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you think that a lot of these kids are just playing for a highlight, or do you think that you do have a generation coming that will be a lot of two-way players and stuff like that, or do you see a lot of these guys as just highlight reels?
The overall answer is yes. I feel like there are a lot of these guys that are, you know, gaining the followers and everything you had mentioned. Those are the guys, not all of them, but a lot of those guys, like you said, they could have their one highlight, but then they're shooting 2 for 18 in a game. Sure, they'll have their 11 points, 15, whatever, but they have that one dunk that Bleach Report's going to share and whatnot. There's a lot. That's a common thing, and that's what's going on a lot with these players. And my thing is, I still believe that there are those, like you said, the two-way players, the Kawhi Leonards, the Pascal Siakams, like those kind of guys out there. And I think it's a bit of both. I think that it is 100% that there's a lot of dudes that are playing for highlights, playing for their IG, playing for clout. But I still think, you know, scouts are still very prevalent to what goes on with the NBA, which is why nobody knew who John Morant was. He self-built himself. So that's why I still believe that there's still a chance and everything is going to be fine as far as that. It just, you know, scouts have to actually do their job and not, like you said, solely go off of, all right, this guy's popping, maybe I should, you know, invest my time onto this, onto this guy. I mean, it works out sometimes. We're seeing that, you know, but so that's why my main answer is yes. I think it is hurting, and there are people that are doing that for highlights and for fame, and they're not going to pan out to be who they are, but there are still a lot of players, and John Morant's the more recent example I'm going to use. I think, you know, someone like James Wiseman, who people are all of a sudden counting out, who was going into this draft supposed to be the number one prospect, but the minute he's not playing for Memphis anymore, he's not doing any reels, he's not doing anything for videos and for clout, he falls off on that sense. So because he's not popular anymore, people think he's not as talented, and people are going to say, well, he can't do. Stop. He is definitely a top 5 talent, top 3 talent in some people's minds, but because he's not popping like that, he's probably going to fall down. We might have a situation where, you know, he's get picked like 6, 7, and then this guy's the best player in the draft. So I feel like it comes down to the scouts, and, you know, people are going to get their following, they're going to get their clout and whatnot, but the scouts still have to do their job. And I feel like, you know, a lot of these guys, like, you know, there's a few of them that still do a really good job paying attention to players that we're not talking about and giving them the shine that they should still be getting. And I think we'll be okay. But yeah, it is becoming a bigger issue. And we're starting to pay attention to players that shouldn't be getting the attention that they're getting. So my overall answer to your questions, I know you asked me one or the other. My answer is yes, because I think it's a bit of everything right now.
Yeah, it's kind of because I just look at guys like Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't even have social media. Like, he would not even be in any conversation today. You know, if it was literally like he was coming out with this new 2020 class or next year with 2021, like, he would not be getting any like looks because he doesn't have social media. And like, so I always worry about the guys like that. I guess with this moment, I've been thinking about those kind of guys that really are like great basketball players, and like, our scouts missing out on those opportunities because we're so there's so many highlights and stuff just thrown, and it's like an over like pool of that kind of stuff, and then the scouts are trying to like cipher through all of that stuff, and then after that, then they have to go look for guys that nobody knows about too. Like, it's just like, unfortunately, like, we're kind of ruining this process how it is supposed to be, like, by having all these trending viral videos kind of take over our talks of basketball. Yeah.
But that's why some teams are just good at what they do while other teams are not. Like, we got the Raptors, who are finding all these players that nobody's heard of, but they're all really good players because their scouting team does the work compared to going off of social media. The Spurs are another one, you know, Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers, and exactly. That's why Jerry West and all the scouting teams that he always surrounds himself with, everywhere he goes, he's finding talent from guys that we don't talk about. So that's what I'm saying. It comes down to the people doing the work, and they're still out there. But yeah, it kind of sucks because, you know, it's getting oversaturated by highlights and cool plays. So I hear you what you're saying.
The struggle. Okay, well, that's Britt's take for this year.
All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up our show for the day, right on time. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be back again at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So don't forget to tune in, wash your hands, wear a mask, and we will see you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.